Hello divers, and welcome to another standard above-the-board broadcast with Private Sprockets. Today, we'll be talking about just how transparent, honest, and well-managed our democracy truly is. Now that we've made it clear that this is a propaganda-friendly broadcast, wave by to your democracy officer and let them get back to their truth-maintaining duties. We all know that Super Earth is perfect, flawless, and... They're gone? Alright divers, time to get real. If you're still on, keep out of sight and keep your volume low. This ain't the standard tactical feed. I know you usually tune in for loadouts and field guides. Not today. The propaganda is a lie. And today I'm gonna tell you every piece of the puzzle that I've uncovered so far. Last warning. Just listen to this puts a target on your back. Ignorance is safe. As frequency ain't. If you aren't willing to put your service record and your life on the line, cut the feed right now. Walk away and forget about this. I won't blame you. I'm risking a lot broadcasting this, but it needs to be said. I ain't doing it to scare you. I'm doing it because you deserve to know the truth. To know the real reasons why us divers are bleeding down there. I've seen too many glory-seeking fresh faces run headfirst into the grinder, looking to be the next General Brash. Don't. Super Earth that we know and love has been built on falsehoods, manipulation, and the lives of Helldivers. Any information I'm sharing with you has been confirmed and corroborated by various sources. It's true, it's not in question. Not gonna put any of us on the line for simple speculation. From Super Earth puppeting the mega corporations to the monsters that High Command created over 100 years ago during the First Galactic War, I'm getting the truth out there. We can fight back, but not in a conventional way. Not yet at least. Transponders and external comms off. We're diving all the way in. Put plainly, High Command and the top corporations of Super Earth are one and the same. They use their control, influence, power, propaganda, and our loyalty to put those at the top of the tower even further up there. And of course, to make money. A lot of money. High Command tells us to respect the weapon. Treat it like it's a part of you. They say, this is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Another lie. You think your gun was made for you? For you to find glory among the stars? False. It was made to meet a quota, to boost the sales report. Ever heard of the Megacorp Morganson? They're the primary weapons supplier for the Ministry of Defense, and therefore, Super Earth's military as a whole. Anytime weapons or supplies are needed for some new patriotic operation, you better believe Morganson is getting their profits up tremendously. The Ministry creates a need, Morganson fulfills it. The Ministry of Prosperity. They're more or less the regulatory body that manages and maintains the proper flow of goods and currencies all around the galaxy. Sounds great, right? Right. Now, what bank keeps every Super Earth citizen's money safe? The privately operated Trustall Bank, of course. But Trustall Bank and the Ministry of Prosperity are the same. Hell, just look at the logo. Using Trustall Bank as a proxy, they have control over all our money and finances, knowing exactly when and where every citizen spends their credits and what they spend them on. Not seeing the pieces fit yet? Fair. I wouldn't want to either. The Ministry of Expansion writes the manual on the growth and expansion of freedom. If it involves colonization or procurement of resources, they're involved. They do this through their partner, Ulteria, a megacorp specializing in mining in addition to refining and processing E710. Again, same logo. You know the drill. And what is E710 anyway? We'll come back to that later. COB Genetics produces our genetically modified food, and they don't seem to have any ties to a ministry body as far as I can tell. But why is the Genetics Corp running the programming for our field computer systems, like those at SAM sites and various other mission objectives? Whatever the reason, there for sure is one. Ampiodine looks pretty clean, or at least is good at making things look clean. No direct links to any specific ministry, but I'd guess they had a hand in creating our cyborg workforce oh so long ago. We'll circle back on the cyborgs as well. Permacura is a corp that makes the non-addictive stems that we all jam into our necks at even the smallest injury. For non-divers, they provide premium medical services, just not ones that anyone besides the top citizens can afford. Limiting medical care to those they choose, one high-ranking citizen at a time. Alright, so why haven't you heard any of this stuff before? How isn't this corruption and manipulation all over the news? It's not because it can't be. Because the Ministry of Truth doesn't want it out. They own the news after all. What? You weren't aware that Strawman News, the biggest news station in the galaxy, is just another tool of the Ministry of Truth? Again, the logo. They control the messages, broadcasts, everything. Any official or unofficial information that passes through the galaxy goes straight through them at some point. Thankfully for us, they never check the illegal broadcast frequency. Just have us blow up the antenna. And Coretta Kelly? She's a pawn, just like the rest of us. The megacorps and the ministries, they're the ones manufacturing problems and pulling the trigger from orbit while we fight their wars. The First Galactic War wasn't a struggle for survival. It was just a corporate expansion. Before the First Galactic War, old redacted records showed that the bugs had basic intelligence and were seemingly non-hostile. But Super Earth discovered that terminate exoskeletons dissolve into E710. This, of course, gave us a new path forward to power our ship's Alcubierre warp drives. We simply had to capture and harvest the bugs. Killing them outright would have been morally wrong. When we won the First War, the remaining bugs were captured and put into specialized breeding farms to be eventually harvested for the E710. Being the heroes that we were, we couldn't help ourselves but to genetically modify the bugs to make their bodies an even more efficient fuel source. Spoilers if you weren't aware, 710 Upside Down is OIL. The bugs are being refined into our modern day oil. Terminids aren't an invading force, they never were. They captured livestock that got loose. We turned a sentient species into glorified gas pumps. The fact that bugs keep getting out on planets that we have them contained on, High Command lets a breach happen every time the E710 supply gets thin. Hive Lords don't have space travel. Somebody put them there to eventually harvest for oil. Tyranny Park 4, here we eventually come. Then you got the Illuminate, the Squids. High Command paints them as shadowy masters of the void, but that's just a long-term cover for one of the biggest grifts in history. The Squids came in peace. They offered diplomacy, but they had warp tech and energy shields that made our engineers look like they were playing with sticks. We didn't want their friendship. We wanted their stuff. We invented a super weapon threat, shot the messengers, and eventually loaded the corpse of a once peaceful civilization just to steal their science. We made them into villains because we needed a narrative in order to take their tech the right way. And now they're crawling back from the dark using our own damn citizens as voteless against us. The automatons didn't just pop out of a scrap heap. They're the ghosts of Cyberstan. The bill finally coming due for what we did to the cyborgs a century ago. They didn't teach you that back in super history class? What a surprise. We forced the Borgs to work down in the minds of Cyberstan. When they started wanting things like rights and actual freedom, we manufactured a story to make them the enemy. False flag attacks and all. Now their children have come back with metal skin and memories that don't rust. We created the automatons the moment that we decided that managed democracy meant enslaving anyone who wanted a different life. Another manufactured villain, just to keep the gears of the war machine turning. And the gears do turn, and turn, and turn, and turn. They never stopped because they weren't made to stop. All of our stratagems, vehicles, weapons, an ongoing stream of wartime production. That rifle in your hands is serial number Alfa Romeo 23 Lima 877579296. It's got a maintenance schedule, a retirement plan, and an insurance policy. You get a real number once you're dead. Until then, you only get a 2-character call sign. To the board, you're just a fleshy guidance system they strap to the trigger. A high-velocity ammunition used to balance the books for people who will never recognize your face or think twice once it's blown off. Check the ledgers if you get the chance. That rifle started as raw ore. Ulterior Corp tracks every milligram. That ore gets to Morganson to be made into the weapons of freedom. Once that ore becomes a weapon, it's insured. If a factory worker drops a crate of these things, there's an inquiry. Pay gets docked. It's a financial loss. But when you fall and don't get back up, when another diver gets turned into pink mist on the creek, there ain't no financial loss. And that's just part of the scam. Hell, just think about it. How much did your training cost? Just kidding, there was no training. You just got dropped off and motivationally spoken to. If you made it through, at least you were able to dive under live turret fire. Who pays for your ship's upgrades? The war bonds. Who buys the stratagem permits? You do. You're down there scrapping for samples and credits in the mud, risking your necks just to buy a better scope for their rifle. You're paying out of pocket for their upgrades. They sold you, all of us, a fantasy. You watched the ads. You heard the swelling music. They promised you camaraderie, something to fight for. Now don't get me wrong, we have something to fight for. But that something isn't high command. Let us fight for our fellow divers, for each other. Our bond, we forged that in the field, looking out for each other while command watched from orbit. That bond belongs to us. To them, you were just signing a contract that pretty much says, I agree to have no rights and become a free targeting system. That cape ain't a badge of honor. It's the receipt for a bad deal. It proves you cost them absolutely nothing to replace. Actually read the Helldiver contract of employment sometime. See what High Command really thinks you're worth. Don't know the assigned value, but I know the amount. 24. That's the magic number. 4 divers on the ground, 20 in the budget. That ain't a tactical limit. We got millions of divers on ice. That 20 is a budget cap. They've calculated exactly how many bodies they're willing to write off to take on one mission. When that number hits 0 and you're bleeding out in the field waiting 2 minutes for reinforcements, that ain't travel time for another ship to arrive in system. That's the super account requesting authorization for over-budget expenditure. You're waiting for some other accountant in High Command, millions of miles away, to give an approval. Let's be real. We all know that anytime you get careless and misplace a stratagem, or fail to maintain fire and discipline, you're failing your squad mates. What we forget, or don't think about, is how your lack of attention has failed the next diver that's still on ice waiting to drop in. And glory? When you waste a life on a reckless, solo glory run, you ain't just burning a reinforcement ticket. You're putting another diver in harm's way of a war they were tricked into joining. You're spinning your squad survival chance on your own ego. That ain't bravery, that's theft. Real tactics ain't about how many bugs you kill alone. It's about how many of those 20 tickets you save for the team. Or even better, don't spend it all. When we're in the field, those tickets don't belong to High Command. Once we drop, those 20 tickets belong to us. They are our lifeline. Here's one last thought on expendability. The EAT-17, the expendable anti-tank. It's got one purpose. Drops in, fires one shot, and then it becomes trash. To High Command, we're just EAT-17s made of meat. We're just the means to fire their weapons, except our average time of expiration is 2 minutes. That's only twice as long as the EAT's cooldown. But here's the difference. The EAT-17 don't have a squad. It don't have anyone to watch its back. We do. If we're gonna be treated like ammunition, we gotta make sure our decisions count. Sometimes spinning the life is necessary. Sometimes you gotta hold the line so the Pelican can land. Sometimes you gotta drop a 500 kg bomb on your own position to clear a nest. But you do it for the squad. If you die saving your brothers and sisters, that's a trade we accept. But if you die because you wandered off to chase personal glory, you're just a dud round. And nobody mourns a dud. So how do we win this? How do we come up on top? Simple. Respect the weapon. Clean it. Oil it. Because High Command wants it back in the armory, and we have to keep up the charade. For now, Keeping ourselves informed, alive, and well is the biggest act of rebellion we have to offer. I see us divers as brothers and sisters. High command sees numbers on a spreadsheet. If we're just line items in a budget, then we gotta be the hardest, most stubborn line items in the galaxy. Aside from each other, we're alone out here. The monitoring systems on your ship, they don't care if you come home. I've run the numbers, I've seen the ledgers, and the math don't lie. The ministries and megacorps don't care. Look out for each other. Check your fire. Save stims for your squad mates. Because nobody up the chain of command is coming to save us. The only thing that keeps a Helldiver alive aside from their own wits is another Helldiver. We gotta do whatever it takes to make sure we all stick together through this. I'm scrubbing the logs of this transmission. Pass this intel to your squad. Don't let them die without knowing what they're really dying for. Subscribe to Sink Your Super Destroyer for future broadcasts. We gotta build our own network, or we're gonna die alone in the dark. Stay alive, diver. Kill the feed.